My father didn't come to my wedding, but showed up uninvited when news of my $110 million hotel chain spread. A spy was at the family dinner, and then a secret was revealed that left everyone forced to watch. My father didn't come to my wedding, but the night he sat smiling across from me at a family dinner, I knew he wasn't there for me. He was there for the success now being reported on every business channel, saying my hotel chain had reached a value of $110 million. We were all seated around one table in a busy Chicago restaurant. Outside, the sharp January wind rattled against the windows, while inside the warm lighting made my family look as if we had always been close. My husband, Mark, held my hand under the table, a quiet reminder that I wasn't alone, but inside me an old wound had reopened. My father laughed lightly and said, "We've always been proud of you, sweetheart." He was the same man who told me I was ruining my future when I dropped out of college to take a hotel job. When I married Mark, he refused to attend. Over the phone, his voice had been cold, "Handle your life yourself. We're not coming." On my wedding day, I stood at the church entrance, glancing back again and again, hoping they'd change their minds. But their seats stayed empty. Memories returned uninvited. Mark and I living in a worn-out apartment outside Las Vegas. His job lost. My paycheck barely covering rent from my front desk position. After night shifts, I cleaned rooms for extra cash. We had no health insurance, and when Mark injured his hand, the emergency room bill nearly buried us. That was when I decided if life was pushing me down, I would build my own ladder from the ground. I worked my way up, assistant manager, then manager of a struggling motel. Later, I became a partner, buying rundown properties no one wanted and rebuilding them piece by piece. 10 exhausting years later, those small fixes turned into a chain of hotels. And now, success had somehow brought my family back into my life. At the end of the table, a man sat quietly. Everyone assumed he was my financial advisor. His name was Adam. In truth, he was a private investigator. My father kept talking. "We always wanted you to succeed. Circumstances were just complicated." I glanced at Adam. He placed his phone on the table calmly and said, "If you'd like, I can explain now." The table fell silent. My stepmother frowned. "Explain what?" I looked straight at my father. "Go ahead, Adam." He spoke evenly. 2 years ago, Mr. Howard attempted to obtain unauthorized access to his daughter's business accounts. The goal was to determine her financial worth and explore possible legal ways to benefit from it. My sister's face drained of color. My father froze mid-bite. "That's a lie," he snapped. Adam opened a folder. Emails, payment records, and testimony from the consultant hired to access the information. "It's all documented." The restaurant noise faded into the background. All I could hear was my own heartbeat. Slowly, I said, "You didn't come to my wedding because I was a failure to you. And when I became successful, you came back, for the money." My father had nothing to say. Mark squeezed my hand. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't that girl standing at the church door anymore, waiting for her father to show up. "I didn't file charges," I said quietly. "I only wanted the truth. And now I have it." My father muttered, "We're family." I shook my head. Family stands by you when things are hard, not when success finally shows up. I stood up. Across the restaurant, Emma, my best friend and now my business partner, watched us from another table. She had helped me through the years when I had nothing. Family, I'd learned, isn't always about blood. We stepped outside into the cold night air. Standing in the parking lot, I looked up at the sky. Somewhere inside me, the bitterness still lingered, but alongside it was a strange sense of peace. Mark asked softly, "How do you feel?" I exhaled. Like something heavy just lifted. The next week, I used part of the company's profits to start a small relief fund for people caught between rent payments and medical bills, people like we once were. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to give someone another chance. I never called my father again. Not out of anger, just clarity. Some doors have to close so life can move forward. And for the first time, I understood my success wasn't about money. It was about becoming the woman who could break, rebuild, and stand again, on her own terms. In the months that followed, life settled into a quieter rhythm. Business interviews came and went, investment offers kept arriving, and our expansion plans filled most of my days. But internally, something had shifted. The constant hunger to prove myself, to my father, to relatives, to people who once dismissed me, was finally gone. Mark noticed it first. "You're different lately," he told me one evening as we reviewed renovation plans for a new property. "You're calmer." "I think I stopped fighting ghosts," I said. 4 years, every achievement felt like revenge against those who doubted me. Every contract signed felt like proof I wasn't the failure they predicted. But revenge is exhausting fuel. It burns hot and leaves you empty. Peace, I discovered, lasts longer. Emma and I expanded the relief fund quietly. No publicity, no press releases. We helped employees dealing with unexpected hospital bills, single parents facing eviction, workers trying to get back on their feet. Some recipients never knew where the help came from. That anonymity mattered to me. One afternoon, a young woman approached me after a company orientation. She was nervous, twisting her hands. "I heard, you started the assistance program," she said. "My mom and I almost lost our apartment last year. Someone helped us. I just wanted to say thank you." Her voice shook as she spoke. And in that moment, I remembered cleaning rooms after midnight, praying our landlord would give us one more week. That gratitude meant more than business awards or headlines ever could. Occasionally, news about my father filtered through relatives. Financial troubles. Tension at home. Regret, some said. But I no longer felt the urge to fix things or reopen old conversations. Forgiveness, I realized, doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it simply means letting go. Mark and I celebrated our 10th anniversary quietly, far from cameras or family expectations. Just a small trip, good food, laughter, and relief at how far we'd come from that cramped apartment where we once counted coins for groceries. On our last night away, Mark asked, "If you could go back and tell your younger self something, what would it be?" I thought about the exhausted girl working double shifts, heartbroken at her parents' absence, terrified of failure. "I'd tell her," I finally said, "that the people who walk away don't decide how your story ends. Success didn't bring my family back in the way I once imagined. It simply revealed who had always been there, and who never truly was. And that turned out to be enough." Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If this journey touched you, please like the video and subscribe for more real, inspiring stories every week. Share your thoughts in the comments and support the channel so we can keep bringing meaningful stories that remind us all to keep moving forward together.